Hello and welcome to another episode of English with Shinrai Sensei and our Better Together at English series. And today we're going to see how E is everywhere, right? But first we're going to go ahead and we're going to show you the two versions of E that you will most commonly see, which is long E and short E, right? The long E is usually going to be featured whenever you see two E's. And these two E's do not have to be consecutive, by the way. So if I have the letters split between like E and E, this E will still sound long, right? Or, E-R-E, that will still sound long. So in this case, let's say seen, like in a movie, or in this case, it would be sincere. That E is still long, even though the two E's are not right next to each other. This E, think of it as this E is holding this letter back from making that E short, right? So E's a very good friend because E is going to pull that other letter back so that whatever letter is before this consonant here, right? Whatever vowel is before this consonant, the E makes sound long. So if I was to have there's only a few examples of otherwise, but like E is a very good friend because it's going to make this I, instead of being like in the word fur, where the I is a short I that is just there to help accentuate the R. If I add the E here, this becomes a long I because E is a good friend and helps I not be held back by the R, right? Same with thin versus fine. The E helps pull that N away from the I long enough that you can hear the I, right? Well, the same thing with E. So in the word seen, this E is long because that E helps you to see that E is long, right? That E shows you this E is long. That's what it's really there for. It's to show the difference between the two. In a lot of other languages, you'll see like symbols drawn above the letter that you have a difference in. So, like you'll have the letter N and then you'll have like Nye, right? In like Spanish, you have Nye. So in English, though, since we don't tend, unless we're using foreign words explicitly, like touche or like in Spanish, when we use Spanish language in English, quite often you'll see it written in English books and stuff like that, and you'll see that we leave the letters with the special marks above them in when it's not a native English word. You even see that in the word like facade. You'll see that special C that is in the word facade sometimes. Well, in English, for native English words, we don't have those markers to put over these letters to indicate something special is going on. So instead, we just choose to slap an E at the end to show that this E is long. So the E is right there to show that E is long. This E is right there to show that E is long, and things like that, right? That E is right there to show that I is long. That E is right there to show that I is long. That E is there to show that I is long. So on and so forth. We use, it's basically like a support letter. So, E is everyone's, as far as vowels go, best friend. The letter E is every vowel's best friend because every vowel is going to have their long sound, which you can argue is the true sound of that vowel, comes out whenever you put an E at the end. So you have like bonfire versus bone. Or you have fun, or you have fume, right? Obviously, I don't believe fume is a word, so slapping an E at the end of fun, I don't believe is a word, but I could be wrong. There's, plenty of resources that you can look at, but bon, for like bonfire, when you add an E at the end, that becomes bone. Obviously, it's not bone fire unless you're burning bones. Fun, well, if you look at fume, then that long U comes out. So E is every vowel's best friend. Every single vowel's best friend. So we'll go ahead and erase this. And if you want to, you can go ahead and screenshot this. But E is every vowel's best friend. All these are E being the best friend of every vowel. Now, long E is featured whether the E's are two consecutive or whether the E's are separated like this, right? But the short E is whenever that E is typically going to be the last sound, is when you're going to see that E be a short E. So like end, send, friend, bend, send, bend, ken, bed, Fred. Chem, short for chemical, right? And, chemical, once again, there's no E in that word to help that first E become long. So chemical has got a short E in it, right? And so these are some examples of the short E. The long E is like need, read, read. And in this case, that read has multiple different readings. So this could be the present tense is read. So the past tense is read, though. So this word's a good example and a bad example simultaneously, and I'm sorry for the confusion. But read, in this case, we're using the present tense version of it, which is read, which rhymes with reed, which is is like a plant. It's like a shoot of a plant, right? Then you have feed, seed, tea, fee, things like that. All these words are where the long E comes out. All these words are the short E comes out. And then just know that E's are everywhere. And in fact, E's are so common in the English language that a lot of ciphers that are based in English, right? So if I'm trying to write a secret hidden message in English and I'm just using a basic key to encrypt the message, E is actually going to be the letter that they're going to look for because it's in so many words in the English language that if I read a letter written by anybody, the most common letter on that page will more than likely be E. So E is one of the most common, if not the most common. E is most common letter in English. So that's another thing to kind of write down and remember. E is the most common letter in English. You will see E everywhere, right? E is the most common letter in English, and I'm going to write that a little less small and a lot more clearly, hopefully, with a bigger marker. So E is most common letter in English. Right. So E is the most common letter in English. Most places, whenever they have an encrypted message, will, as far as knowing whether or not that language that the encryption comes from is English. If you can find the letter E in that cipher, in that cryptograph that you're given, more than likely you can figure out the cipher from there. But that's a little bit more advanced than you guys probably need to know. Just kind of a neat little fact and trivia that E is probably the most common letter in the English language to see. You will find very few words that, or you will find, if you were to just count how many words you see with the letter E in it versus any other letter, the words with the letter E in it will be a vastly higher number than most letters, right? But every word has a vowel in it, at least one. So that will be it for today's lesson. And just remember, E's are everywhere. E's are every vowel's best friend. And long E and short E's sounds. So the long E, once again, the long version of any vowel is the identifying sound of that vowel. Whenever you say it in the alphabet, the long version of the vowel is the alphabet letter that you're saying. And the short E is eh. So end, send, bend, friend, things like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. If you do have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. If you want me to expand on anything, once again, please leave it in the comment section. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Have a good day.